I think knowing how Trump worked with the conservatives is why they like him, because he can read a room very well, and he tells them what they want to hear, and then stuff that they don't really feel strongly on, he can kind of command them on. I think this is like the one weakness you would see if he keeps hammering it, right? If he keeps on saying the vaccines are good, I think that might be the only thing the conservative base would turn on him on if he keeps doing it.
I think they'll ignore him I think they would ignore him like the evangelicals ignored his like multiple infidelities porn star thing. I mean, they're so I think they're so attracted to his magnetic personality, and like the triggering the libs thing is the number one defining characteristic of like what a Republican primary voter wants right now, and he's number one by a mile in that.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of an interesting point too, Emma, because like ultimately, like this dynamic of like wanting to trigger the libs is what they're hoping by having Trump on the show. But Trump has, you know, in many ways triggered the libs too hard, and he's been banned from social media for that. And they're not trying to get that to happen to them because this is still their bread and butter. And so there is that kind of weird gap between the two when it comes to like, okay, well, the Republicans are looking, and a lot of right-wing demagogues and content creators looking for a post-Trump vehicle. Like after Trump is no longer on social media, they can't like, you know, no offense, dick ride them there for the rest of like, you know, the rest for like content. They have to find a Trump replacement that is just as animating, that is just as kind of like victimizing as Trump was, you know. And in many ways, like the anti-vaxxer stuff has become like the, you know, post-Trump being banned in the aftermath of Jan 6. Like it's just a new way to unite the right around, you know, anti-lib cause.
I actually brought this up on my show on Tuesday, where I think each subgenre of Trump supporter has their own fictionalized version of Trump in their head, who they view as their hero, their lion, their North Star, their God. The QAnon people have their own version of Trump. The evangelicals have their own version of Trump. There's overlap between a lot of them, but they each have their own version of fictionalized Trump. And that's when you hear, like, you know, when he got booed for taking the booster at the Bill O'Reilly tour, you know, in their head, they're probably thinking something like, booed what Trump just said. Trump, aka the version in their head, would never agree to that because he's taken so many positions. They just pick and choose which one they want to internalize as their version of Trump. And at the end of the day, when it comes time to vote, they're really voting for that fictionalized version of Trump in their head. So that's how he'll continue to get them to vote for him.